Good morning, everybody. I'm Tim, and we got another vlog here that we're working on. It's going to really make a difference. It's going to make a difference for you and anybody you know, because we're talking about changing the brake pads on your car, and we're going to go through it step by step. And with the magic of editing, as I was saying, we're not going to watch a 2-hour long video because we can cut through a lot of that. But I noticed that on my car, it's a Honda Accord, and we live in an area that has a lot of hills, up and down the hills. You have to use your brake to stop or slow down, and you have to do that a lot, so it does tend to wear out the brakes a lot, mostly the front brakes. Thank goodness you can buy new brake pads for, well, these were $30, maybe $39, I guess I should be more accurate, but you don't have to spend $39 on brake pads. You can buy good, better, and best. And if you ask the car parts store, you say, I want the brake pads for my car, they're going to ask you, well, what do you want? Do you want semi-metallic or blah blah blah? No, all you need to do is say what's your good ones, what's your better ones, and what's your best ones. And then pick the better ones. Don't get the cheapest and don't get the most expensive. It really doesn't pay any money to get the most expensive. Anyway, so the price difference would be like $25, $35, and $45. So anyway, these are the middle of the road brake pads, and I'm going to put them on today. We had to pull the car in the garage, and we're going to work inside the garage. And we'll take videos as we go so that we can add it to sequence. And you'll see that basically anybody with a couple of tools, like a screwdriver and maybe a socket with a ratchet and a good air compressor. I have an air compressor. Anybody can do this, okay? Okay, we're working on the passenger side front of the car. We're going to have to lift up the wheel off the we have to take the weight off the wheel. Before we do that, we have to position a jack that will lift the car, but you can't just put a jack under the car and push and start lifting it. You'll put a hole in the bottom of the car. There's a place designed to hold the weight, and you put it's right here. Every car has a place to jack it up. I don't know what it's called. It's a jack point, but this point in the car will hold the weight of the car. And we'll lift it up right there. There we go. Alright, now we're going to lift up the car until the wheel is almost off the ground. And the reason we don't want to get the wheel off the ground is we have to turn these lug nuts with a wrench counterclockwise. And if the wheel is off the ground, it will just spin when I try to turn these with a wrench. So we'll leave the wheel down, and once I get this off, then I'll lift the car all the way off the ground. Well, that wheel anyway. Okay, some of the tools we're going to need today. This comes in real handy. It's a rubber mallet. Probably weighs a pound or two. Alright. To take it off the wheel is a breaker bar. It's a 1/2 inch. That means it's a 1/2 inch on the end. And it fits in the hole of this socket. The square hole. Okay. So this is what we use to get the lug nuts off the wheel. There are 5 of them. And then nobody wants to get into doing a brake job without a C-clamp. You gotta have one of these. And we'll go over why in a little bit. Okay, now it's loose. Now that these nuts are loose, we can go ahead and take all the weight off this front passenger side tire. With a few quick humps and magic. I can see light. You can see light come through the, you see that? The light is coming out from behind the tire. There's a light back there. So we know that that tire's off the, and since it's in park, the tire isn't going to turn but a little bit. Definitely better to do that with the tire on the ground. Okay. Now we can turn each one off. I loosened all 5 of them before the tire was off the ground. So now they're all pretty loose. And we can use, this tool is easier than getting my air-powered pneumatic wrench, which would require the air compressor in the basement, which if I need it I can go set it up, but I don't think I'm going to need that for this. And then this is really not that hard. It's no harder than changing a flat tire. Just all we're doing is taking the tire off so we can get to the brakes that are behind it. The 5 lug nuts. When we started with 5, we want to finish with 5.
Maybe I do.
Hey, Benedict.
I sneaky like behind you.
Now here's where the rubber mallet comes in handy, among other things.
What?
Sometimes this sticks to the car because of rust and but this one I just tapped it and it basically fell off, so I'm going to push it with my foot. Bam! Plastic decorative wheel cover, and this is the tire on the rim, and here's the brake assembly. Come over here. Right, now the next thing we're going to do is, this is the brake. We're going to put a safety stand there so that if the jack fails, that the car won't fall on top of anybody. Safety first, that's what I always say. Okay, here's what I'm talking about.
Ooh.
This is called the jack stand, and it'll hold up the car in case the jack fails. It's like, this is plan B. I'll put it somewhere where it'll catch the car if the car starts falling down. Sometimes you have to jack up the car a little higher than just to get that somewhere where it'll hold. There, now if I take the load off the jack, watch this. The jack stand will catch. That's all on the jack stand now. All the weight is on the jack stand. I don't like that. I like to have 2 jacks. I like to have the jack hold up the car, and the jack stand is my backup plan. Okay, so that's that. Yeah, I just took out the old brake pads. They're kind of, this one's not worn out as much as this one. You can tell the difference in thickness. You look at the brake material there, which is on the one I'm touching with my finger. That wears away, and then this one is much. This is on the other side, and the old and the new. This is one side. See how nice? This is the new one. This is the old one. This is the other side. This one's falling apart. Anyway. So anyway, I had to go back to the store and get the right parts. They sold me the wrong ones. These are the new ones, the second set. They're basically identical in size. The first one, this was much wider. It was about, I don't know, almost twice as wide, and it didn't fit. So I had to go back to the store and tell them, look guys, and they happily exchanged them. So now I'm back, picking up where I left off. And summarize a couple things for those of you who don't know anything about brakes. Focus on this equipment here. This thing I'm holding in my right hand is the caliper. All it is a little, like a cup that's made out of steel that sits inside. This is the hose that has high pressure hydraulic fluid going. You put your foot on the brake, it squeezes fluid behind here. It comes out, whatever, 100 pounds per square inch, and magnify that by the size. It probably puts 10,000 pounds of pressure on this cup. The cup pushes out, it squeezes the brake like this. Now you need something between this and the brake. That's what you have the brake pads for. They squeeze like that. Okay, unfortunately when I took this side apart, the rotor, the thing that goes around and round, the back of it was all rusty and we can't use this. Some people don't replace these when they should be clean and shiny on both sides. Curtis or some of my other friends who try to save $1 here, this was only $30. It should be $150. It weighs 50 pounds. But if you need a new one, buy a new one. You don't put new pads on unless you have a good rotor. And if you have a bad rotor and new pads, the new pads are going to wear out real fast and somebody's going to die because you tried to save a couple dollars. Now I'm going to put this all back together and we'll see you on the other side. Okay, we're wrapping it up. It's done. The job is done. It's finished. I wouldn't have been able to finish it without a little extra ingenuity. These pieces here are the old ones. First, that brake pad is cracked in the middle. 1, 2 cracked in the middle. 2, this one has a crack in the middle. 3 out of 4 were cracked in the middle. I don't know how we didn't die. Hold on. This rotor,
Guys!
the rotor here, defective, worn out. Okay? Hold on a second. I had to take those brand new brake pads and put them on the grinder to make them fit. That's how weird things can be. Anyway, safety's job 1. 2, don't get oil and grease on the pad material. Big mistake. It's hard not to. You're playing with grease and you're playing with brake pads. If your fingers are greasy and they touch the brake pad, problems. Right? Let's see, that was, oh, put everything back together as tight as you think you should. Not over tight, but not tight enough. That wouldn't be good. Your wheels can fall off. Anyway, so that's how you do your brakes on your car.